Last night I went to go see Godzilla X Kong, and I just gotta say, it was one of the best movies I've seen all year. And that's mainly because it's everything that you could ask for in a Godzilla movie. It's just nothing but big monsters punching each other in the face. The human plot was small, it was nice, it wasn't huge. There's not two stories like there were in Godzilla versus Kong, which is very nice. It's dumbed down to one story for the humans, and it's actually pretty decent. I didn't wasn't that wasn't that bad actually. But for the monsters, man, like they knocked it out of the park. Godzilla was doing things that I've never dreamed that I would see. Even Kong was just doing some whack ass shit that just needs to be in. I think just needs to be in the MonsterVerse. Like, I think what Toho's doing with -1, perfect. Make that a super scary, dark Godzilla. I think the MonsterVerse needs to go in like the Showa era, because that's what this movie is. It was just bleeding the Showa era films, and if you ever seen the early '60s and '70s movies of Godzilla's, you know what I'm talking about. Godzilla Go Go Godzilla Sidekick, or the Godzilla Dance. So just it was a fantastic movie, and I just want to talk about some of the things that were in it. And I'm gonna start with just Kong. The movie's a lot centered around Kong, though. It's a lot to do with Kong and about Kong and Hollow Earth, and how they have to deal with, if Kong comes up into the surface, Godzilla will attack, and they basically have two territories. The surface world is now Godzilla's territory, and the Hollow Earth is now Kong's territory, which I think that's pretty neat. But while Kong's in Hollow Earth, he ends up fighting like this horde of like wolf dog things, and it was like they look kind of crazy. But he ends up like there's traps set up around, and he ends up using these traps, and he ends up causing like a little crater to open up, like a little ravine, and deep end down there is where the main villain is, Scar King, in the new area called the Subterranean Level, which is very unique. How and kind of opens the question of how many other levels are there to Hollow Earth. So yeah, no. So while Kong's exploring Hollow Earth, Godzilla's doing his thing. He's protecting the world. The movie starts with Godzilla versus the giant spider thing, and he instantly just obliterates it as soon as it starts. He just blows it up, and he's just covered in orange goo, which is nice. And then he goes to Rome, sits in the Colosseum, takes a little cat nap, like a little dog, or well, took a cat nap, so it's like a little cat. So while that's going on, the little girl who was in Godzilla versus Kong, the Inuit girl, I believe that's the tribe that she's a part of. I believe that's the tribe she's a part of. She starts getting these flashes, and they end up putting it together on a seismic thing that all these flashes match, and they end up determining that it's a distress signal. Something's calling out to him, and later we find out that it was Shimu that's calling out. But while Godzilla's there, he senses it, and Godzilla starts to go gain power, so he goes to take on. It was a cool scene. I thought it was pretty nice. It was pretty short though, of Godzilla taking the power from the nuclear energy, and it has him just doing a big suck. He's just sucking it in. So he's doing the big suck, and he takes in it, and then he starts getting this like blue electrical thing, and he has like the ability, the EMP, and then he leaves. He swims off, and then he goes to fight Timet. Now, Timet is this, like, big snake thing. I'll put a picture on screen right here. It's just big snake thing that's, like, apparently the biggest source of radiation on the entire planet. So Godzilla kills him in about 2 seconds, and then decides to go into his home and take a nap on his couch. And just starts absorbing it. So while Godzilla's doing a little hibernation, Kong in Hollow Earth decides to go back to where the subterranean level is and goes down there. And while he's down there, he ends up running into Mini Kong. Now, Mini Kong, oh, I like Mini Kong, especially when Kong uses him as a weapon to fight off other two Kongs. Like, he just grabs him by the feet and just starts beating him and beating other people with him. It was pretty nice. But little forward, they're running together. It's kind of like a Kratos and Atreus thing. Kong's got his axe across his shoulder, and he's following, and he's like looking over his shoulders, like, and I can just imagine him going, boy. and fallen on, but they get to where Scar King is, and it's just this lava biome, like plains, volcanoes, and shit. So they get in there, and Scar King is there. Kong ends up getting like another. Well, before they meet in Scar King, another gorilla's there, and he's like gets up in Kong's face, and it goes to a first person shot, and it's just Kong's fist punching him in the face and like sending him a few feet back, and he's completely just knocked out. So while that happens, Scar King gets up, and he's got like this whip thing. It's in a lot of the trailers. It's like a bone whip with like this. It has a there's a blue shard on it, and the blue shard will come in a second. So he comes down. He ends up like beating the hell out of like King Kong and just fucking him up. And then King Kong starts getting a little bit of upper hand. So he's just like, you know what, fuck it. He backs off and he takes this blue shard and opens like this lava wall and tells him to like push this rock, opens a lava wall, and Shimu's behind it. Now this is the reason there's blue shards there, because apparently it able to control Shimu for some reason. It controls him through pain. That's how it's described. They controls him through pain, and he waves it around like he's Harry Potter, like Alakazam, Alakadu, Avadikadabra, and he just gets Shimu to do whatever he wants, and it's nuts. And as soon as Shimu's out, Shimu starts using his ice blast. Kong does his best to defend. It doesn't work. He ends up getting frostbite on his hand and runs back to just escapes. He runs. Mini Kong chases behind, follows him, because at this point Mini Kong likes Kong. He wants to be good buddies with him. He wants to be his sidekick. So he runs back. He ends up going to back to the human plot where the humans are at, and they went down into Hollow Earth. Forgot to mention, they went down into Hollow Earth, because I don't care about the human plot. No one cares, but it's important at this point. So the humans end up finding a whole tribe of the origin of Inuit people, and they're all there. And it turns out that this is a temple to Mothra, and it's where the little girl is supposed to resurrect Mothra. But before they go into there, Kong comes in, and then we've met Trapper in this movie, because Trapper ended up giving Kong a gold tooth. Trapper, who we'll get into a theory at the end of this, but Trapper ends up talking about how he has this old project that is no one working, but the prototype was almost done, and it's about Kong, a gauntlet Kong could wear to give him some extra punch and power. So he goes in and calls that in. Great music choice for whenever Trapper does something in the movie, because they always give him some good songs. So Kong gets the glove, and he likes it. He's good. So he ends up going up to Hollow Earth to try getting help from Godzilla. And while that's going on, the humans are trying to, resurrect Mothra. So they're up there. Kong is like trying to get Godzilla to like not attack and like just come with him. Like, I need your help. And he's kind of doing like this, and Godzilla's just like, nah. And we'll also talk about how they're also just 19 miles apart. I think Godzilla just senses Kong's there and just goes with it. So whatever. But they end up fighting, and it was a really good fight. I really did enjoy it. At one point, I believe it was Godzilla just suplexes Kong, and it's just wild. At one point, Kong starts dragging Godzilla, and then Godzilla starts activating his atomic breath, and then Kong turns around like, oh! More of the story of that part is they just destroy all the pyramids, and then Mothra comes in and knocks Godzilla down, and Godzilla looks at Mothra and is like, hey, my bitch is back. So all three of them then go down to where Scar King is attacking, trying to get his way up, and they have a huge brawl. And with the Inuit people, they had this thing where there's two glass pyramids that on the Hollow Earth that if they collide together, it activates zero G. So then it just turns into a massive zero G fight with Scar King and Shimu and Kong and fucking Godzilla, and they hop on each other. It sounds weird, but I know, but they just hop on each other, and then they clash, and a whole like zero G fight takes place. Mothra's flying around, taking off the other enemies that Scar King brought with him, just webbing them up like she's Spider-Man. Just then the zero G fall ends. So they start falling. They go through the portal to the real world. They end up in Rio de Janeiro, and it's another just brawl. And it was just amazing. It was just an awesome fight. Like, at one point, Scar King whips the fucking building and rips it off and throws it at him. This movie's just bleeding the Showa era, but it's not Suitmation, so they can do a lot more cool shit, okay? But at one point during the fight, Scar King loses that little shard to control Shimu, and it falls on the ground, and Little Monkey was left, actually, in that thing, and Kong lost his axe. So now, Little Monkey jumped through the portal, grabbed the axe, and came through, and he broke that shard, releasing Shimu from Scar King's hold, and now Shimu's free, and Shimu, Godzilla, and fucking, like, Kong just start beating him up. Like, at one point, Godzilla whips him with whips Scar King. He goes flying, and then Kong punches him in the air, and then he goes flying, and then Scar King goes flying again, and then Shimu shoots him with his ice blast, and then Shimu, like, basically just freezes him still, and then Kong comes over, and literally, I wasn't expecting them to do this, but Shimu freezes him to where he's, like, completely made of, like, frozen solid ice, and Kong comes over and smashes him into, like, thousands of pieces. Just absolutely obliterates him, destroys him, kablooey, like, into a million bits. Yeah. I at that point I was like, I didn't expect to see that, but I was like all for it. That's a great way to end a villain in a Godzilla movie. And then after that, Godzilla goes his separate way. Kong, Mini Kong, and Shimu actually end up going back down to Hollow Earth, to the subterranean level, and Kong takes his rule as the king. I think he's finally now just King Kong, because now he's a ruler of a bunch of his own race, and he's riding Shimu like a horse type shit. So Kong, Shimu, and Mini Kong are now just on a team. They're the rulers of Hollow Earth, and I think Mothra and Godzilla kind of also be best friends up in top. I think Mothra goes back and forth. Maybe I don't really know. I don't think really Mothra was after they left, after they showed Kong and them in Hollow Earth, and Mothra really wasn't shown much after that. Oh, Mothra sealed up the temple. That's right. And then she flew back. Yeah, so Mothra was in Hollow Earth. All right, so there's just a few things before I end and give a rating to this movie. And if you can see how I've been talking, the rating's going to be something. I'm not rating this for the human plot. I'm rating this strictly for the monsters. All right, I love Godzilla, if you can't see there. And I got this as well. This is -1, you know. But I think I really enjoyed my favorite human character in the movie is Trapper, and that might be an odd choice, but I feel like he's gonna be Jet Jaguar. I feel like he's gonna be the pilot for Jet Jaguar, and I hope if he is, they give him all the songs that I used in this movie and just give him a bunch of old rock songs, because I love that. He just bled the essence of Jet Jaguar. I mean, he's an inventor. He was creating things, so I think they're moving to Jet Jaguar soon, and I hope they really do Jet Jaguar, and I hope he's the pilot for it, because I could see some very funny things coming from his way. I hope, this is my opinion on where I think they should take them in this, is I love the funny shit, and I love them leading more into the monster stories and less into the human. Of course, I still think you need a somewhat of a human there, just for some dialogue, but even though you don't even have to do that, I don't think you have to do that at all. But I think a lot of people want Destroyer next, and personally, I don't want Destroyer. I think the next movie, though, I personally would love to see maybe Gigan, maybe Gigan. But I also saw one post saying that you can hear Biolante's scream at the end of the credits, which I don't know. I don't know about that, but I would also love to just see Biolante again. Or even, hey, can we finally just get Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla? We can even call it Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. I don't care. I would just love to go somewhere, just more monster fights, less human. There's just so many monsters in the Godzilla, like, mythos that could be added that I would want. Like, Kirio, Jet Jaguar, Biolante, Destroyer. Fuck it. You know what? Fuck everything I said. Scratch everything I said. Next Godzilla movie, give him a kid, give him Minula. Let's get Minula. Can we? I want Minula in the MonsterVerse, and that's how you set up Destroya. You know, because at one point our Godzilla's gonna have to go. I'm sad to admit this, but he's gonna have to go. So give us Minula. All right. I don't care. You can give us Godzilla Jr. I personally want Minula and then do Destroy a movie and then Minula becomes the new Godzilla. I don't know, but that's for further down the line. Like I said, I don't want them to do Destroyer next if that's what they have planned, and a lot of people want that. I don't really want Destroyer next. I kind of want a lot of these movies. Let's just make a new era where we get like 15 Godzilla movies that are just Godzilla fighting. Like I'll love that. But for rating of this movie, I give this I give this an 8.4. An 8.4 Godzillas out of 10. All right, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.